a lot of cases, especially starting out a business, they want to go from starting the business to, okay, I want $100,000 grant.
Making that leap, it took more than money, it took faith.
Yes.
And as much as you talk about faith, faith in action is not easy.
Welcome back to Boss Up. I'm Nicole Jones, and on this show we talk about how to start, grow, and sustain your business. We're in part 2 now with Melissa Mitchell. If you guys missed the first episode, be sure to stop this one, pause, save it for later, but go back to the first episode where we're talking about how to start your business in the creative industry and just, Melissa's origin story in the industry. So welcome back, Melissa. Thank you. This particular episode, I want to talk more about the challenges that you might have faced throughout your business, and more about the collaboration piece, because there's been some great collaborations, and I'm sure people are like, how does she get that collaboration? Because she's in the artistry industry. I might also be in that industry. I have been trying to get my foot in the door for a long time, so I want to talk a little bit about that as well. So let's start with some of the challenges, because we talked about growth.
Yes.
In the last episode, we talked about purchasing some SKUs and what that actually looked like.
Yes.
Like, what are some of the challenges that you faced that have allowed you to grow in your business?
So, as you evolve, you have to make tough decisions, whether that's relationships, whether that's financial, whether that's leaving a job, whether that's leaving an old relationship as far as business goes. You just have to be able to be adaptable. And so when I got the big call for Foot Locker, I was in the middle of 2 other mini opportunities, and I had to just make a decision. Is it worth splitting my time up 3 ways, or is it worthy of me just focusing solely on this? And so great opportunities, but I just had to say maybe not right now.
Yeah.
And so with doing that, I was able to really focus 110% on the Foot Locker opportunity and made that the biggest thing yet, because I wasn't splitting up. It's almost like, should I keep dating? Should I settle down? Should I get married? And so I married the Foot Locker opportunity. At some point, you have to say, maybe it's worth me sitting down for a second. And so once I kind of took all that was coming from just that one thing, 5 or 6 new doors have opened even since last year. And so people talk about, well, how did you get it? And, why you? Why that? And so interesting enough, last year when I quit my job, that was February 11th was my last day. And I was like, okay, God, February 12th, I was like, what did I just do? Oh my gosh, right? And so I'm sitting at home and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to cower down.
Yeah.
I'm going to just keep painting every day. And so one of my girlfriends owns an amazing club here, a dinner club. And she said, well, I want to honor you as being a trailblazer. I was like, girl, I just quit my job. I am not a trailblazer. I'm trying to figure out life. So I walk in there and I felt such a sense of calm. It was like, you're exactly where you need to be. You're going to meet who you need to meet. And I met a new friend there. And, we were just talking about business. And I was like, you know what? I need to go to Phoenix. I said, I want to go to Phoenix, Arizona to clear my mind and really talk to God, because the sky is different there. And so he was like, well, I'm going with you. I was like, wait, I don't know you, And so we laugh about it to this day. But I think that was when I planted a seed of just living life without restriction and stop worrying about the how and just know the who, right? And so I released all those inhibitions. I released fear. And so when I got back in March, I wrote out the word global. I wrote out once in a lifetime. I wrote out stores. I wrote out, I literally was writing this stuff out randomly all over the place. And so fast forward to end of April, May, one of my friends, it took about 6 weeks for it to happen. Because, most people are like, well, when is my time going to come? So my friend called me to come to hang out. He had a pop-up shop. And it said Land Influences Everything. And so there's some of my good friends. And he was like, why don't you come visit us? He was like, well, put some art up in the shop. Maybe somebody will buy something. So I'm walking by a nail shop. I walked by the nail shop, and my art was facing the window. And so a lady came running out. She's like, Sora, you're one of my favorite artists. I was like, hey. And she said, my husband would love your work. I was like, well, let me meet him. He turns out to be the president of Clark Atlanta University.
Wow.
And so he's like, I love your work.
Wow.
He was like, you know, I need that for my office. And God is like, give it to him. I'm like, that ain't God. That ain't God. I was like, I'm not giving him any art. And I was like, you know what? I want to gift this to you in the university. He's like almost in tears because he loved the piece so much. So as I'm talking, my friend from Atlanta Influences Everything, he's like, Mel, you good people. I was like, thank you, big dog. You know, we're laughing and talking. He's like, you know what? Have you thought about doing apparel for stores? I was like, yeah. I said, why would I want to do that? He's like, well, I'm going to hook you up with a friend of mine, not knowing who it is, what it is. And so I get a text message, hey, this is so-and-so from Foot Locker. He's seen your stuff, and he really wants to make a connection. So I'm thinking, okay, we're just meeting. So we go to dinner and talk about my business, my big plans, and all of that. So then I get another email the next week, and I'm on an email with the VP of Foot Locker.
What?
So I went from being in denial about quitting my job in February, traveling to, you know, to Phoenix to find my why. April, I'm still painting every day, still just making these designs. And then opportunity met preparation.
Yes.
Because when he called me and said, I need you to be ready for this meeting, I started putting things in all the different mock-ups for a collection. So when she said, hey, do you have anything you want to show us? I was already ready to press send on the email. And she was like, wait a minute, when did you do this? I said, well, I guess God was preparing me because I was already ready. Wow. And so the number one seller that's in stores now was created way before the call came. And so my mantra that I share with people all the time is just stay ready. And people are like, oh, that's archaic. I said, no, literally staying ready means having all your tools in your hand so when the call comes, you don't have to dig into your bag to get them because you're already in the process of creating. And so from 2020 all through 2021, I was always going home. So instead of writing in my journal, I would go make a sketch. Instead of calling my friend to complain, I was going to make a sketch. And so all of those sketches and designs have sustained me financially and spiritually since 2020. So when the calls came for different ideas, like I'm doing shows now for Black History Month, I was already ready because I had stuff already in the queue. Somebody called me yesterday for, you have anything black and gold? I said, give me about 10 minutes. I sent her a mock-up. She's like, when did you do this? I said, don't matter when. Just know that it's ready.
It was ready.
And so now we're ordering things for another event. And so when I look at my life, I just feel like we talk about being chiseled, every step was already preparing me for the next step. Like every opportunity was already giving me a step stool for the next opportunity. So now that I have 3 or 4 more retail opportunities, I already know. I'm like, oh, this is what I need to do. I'm going to hire her. I'm going to call my mom back in. We're going to rent a space. So now I know. And so now my process that took me 6 weeks now takes me about a week because I'm going to have all my stuff lined up. I'm going to have my stickers. I'm going to have this. And so I know what to expect when I come to the table now. It's not foreign to me.
Yeah.
And so if someone asks me about it, I can give you an elevator pitch in 30 seconds and say, girl, just be ready. Because it's work to do when you ask for it. When these answered prayers come, it's not going to be, just some Cinderella experience. It will actually be a process that requires more of you.
Girl, that was a whole
It was a lot.
sermon.
It was a lot.
That was a whole sermon. Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
In terms of just being ready, being prepared, and knowing, okay, as soon as you quit your job on February 11th, the next day you were left in this Kanye shrug almost okay, now what do I do?
Yeah.
And to know that you essentially needed to center yourself.
Yeah.
Let me just continue to create, and then continue. My next step should be to find my why. It's not to go on an impulse and start shipping out different prints or selling different artistry or paintings. It wasn't from a place of desperation. It was, this is where I am. God, you have led me in this place already. Lead me to the next. And allow me to hone in on what my why actually is. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that taste like? Who are the people that's going to be a part of that why?
Right.
And essentially by doing so, you basically cultivated a lot of the things that you just described.
Absolutely. And I think too, we talked about Bob Proctor earlier. He passed away as of today. And, we mourn people like that leave the earth. It's almost like Miles Monroe when he died. It was gone too soon. But they left so much intellectually and spiritually behind that we have enough of a foundation to get to where they are. And really, I think God doesn't want us to always look at numbers about oh, this person died at 88, this person died at 52, like my dad died at 53. And so while we mourn their leaving us so quickly, we collect the lessons and the wealth of knowledge that they leave behind. And so I love that Christianity is more open to the word manifesting and alignment and all these different terms that seem outrageous. Because when you look at all the principle, it goes back to faith. And I say that manifesting
Yes.
is merely faith on steroids. And so I call myself a master manifester because I feel like I have mastered the ability to find a goal and to match it with my faith and relentlessly run towards it. And I think a lot of people get distracted by religion and spirituality and all these different things that kind of get you off course. But really, essentially, God just wants you to say, come back to me.
Yes.
I'm the source. I'm the universe. I'm all these terms. You can call me, because, you know, God has a million different names in the Bible. And so I think for me, focusing on books and teachings that keep me focused. There's a book that I re-listened to about 100 times, Open Your Mind to Receive by Catherine Ponder. And actually, she talks about scriptures in the book. But in that particular book, it's a short read. It's really short. But what she's just telling you to do is that you wake up saying that every day is a blank canvas. Every day is a blank page.
That is so fitting for you.
Of course. And so, you know, for me, it really resonates with me because my favorite part of art, people's like, oh, what's your favorite? I said, I love when I get a blank sheet, when I get a blank start, and I get to do whatever I want like that. And God is like, this is life.
Yeah.
Your life is a canvas.
Yes.
You get to, and if you mess up, you can make a part of the picture. I had a mistake when I was painting one day and some dripped down. I was like, oh, it's gonna mess the whole thing up. I was like, you know what? I'm just making a part of it. And now people are like, I love the texture. And I was like, girl, that started as a mistake. And now it was a favorite part of her painting. And so just like life, there are opportunities that come and then there's sometimes you kind of get off track. You get in the wrong relationship or, you know, you may miss the mark doing something for family, but whatever it is, it still can be used by God.
Yes.
It's not off the table. And so I think that's what my life has been. It's just a constant adaptability, flexibility lesson of not being lost along the way and just understanding that your life is going to be what it's going to be when you decide what it's going to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, man. That was a lot. I hope y'all took something from that. There was a lot of amazing golden nuggets and everything that you just shared, especially manifestation is faith on steroids. I love that.
That's it. Because I get in so many, I don't get in arguments, but just making sure people understand that don't let religion keep you in a prison. I love God, know Jesus, all those different things, but I do believe God gives us tools to get closer to Him
every day
and to get closer to the goals that He has for us. I think I forgot what was it. Prayer Jabez has a second book that came out, and he equated a lot of us don't ask big enough. And so one of the analogies he gave was when we get to heaven, God shows us a door, and so we go and open that door. And all these boxes come falling out. And people are like, well, what's all these boxes for? Who are those for? Those are the prayers you never had enough faith to pray.
Ooh.
Those are all the prayers that you didn't have enough guts to ask for. So you never asked to be a better wife. You never asked to be a better mom. You just assumed that it would come. But you literally can ask for a parking space at Ross all the way to $1 million deal with Foot Locker. So the little things become the big things. And so I literally pray for the smallest things every day. Oh, Lord, I just pray that it's a short way to Olive Garden. When I walk in, we can get you seated now. I say, look at God. And then when I get the opportunities like the Foot Lockers, look at God. So how I do anything is how I do everything.
Yes.
So if you praise God for the smallest thing, like not falling in a pair of new heels, all the way to finding a designer pair of shoes for little or nothing, that the habits of faith become the way you live life. And so I think that's really my key to success is that I just habitually have trusted God with every little step of my life.
Yes. Oh my gosh, girl. You
Yes.
could do literally a whole sermon on this.
Yes.
This could be a third episode.
Okay. Yeah.
Man, that's amazing. And it really shows in terms of, the start of the question was like, what were some of the challenges that you faced? However, if you ask for certain things that you want, He'll basically move those challenges to the left, to the right. And sometimes those mistakes people love the most. And when you're going back to your example of the painting.
Absolutely.
So it's like it's a part of the journey, challenge or not. If you're really equipped to actually live out this lifestyle, live out this dream, this entrepreneurship journey, those mistakes, those challenges will prepare you for the opportunities that are greater than what you could even have asked for.
Absolutely.
And I love the example you gave about opening the door and the boxes just fall out, and those are the gifts
or the
questions that you never asked.
That's
the visual of that is just like,
that's my greatest, I don't want to say fear, but that's my greatest, I guess, fear is that I get to heaven and He was like, oh man, you know you were supposed to be a dancer. Or you know you were supposed to play the flute. It's like all these gifts and all these opportunities that you never even pursued because you allowed fear to trap you behind what was comfortable. And I always say that I traded my pulpit for a paintbrush because I feel like God has given me this gift not just to be creative, but to also literally send out the waves to waking up the giants in people. So I think a lot of people let age or sex or race or, money or whatever it is, orientation, disabilities to hold them hostage.
Yeah.
Oh, girl, I could never do that. That's you. I could never do that. Or I'm too big. I'm too small. I'm too this. And so they put themselves in these cages, and it's like, girl, just do it. Like,
Yeah.
all I can do is tell you, no, you heard no before. You're not foreign to it.
Yeah.
And so you just have to learn how to. I mean, with every yes I got last year, I got like 10 or 15 no's. I didn't post those. I didn't post me crying every night or being upset or, rejection or the relationships that failed, or even while I'm on stage, I'm getting a text from my ex about something crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like you're still waking up every day and like literally like imagine yourself swimming against the current every day, getting to that finish line, getting to that island of paradise and all those things. And so it'll be worth it in the end, but it's that duration of the in between the destination and the starting point that's always so like, what am I going to do with my life? You know?
Yeah.
But if we could see ourselves, I just told my sister, because she's about to be 35 and I'm about to be 40. And so we're both hitting these benchmarks of like, oh my God. And I was like, if I could really talk to myself at 34 or myself at 29, like, girl, it's going to be a ride, but this is what's going to happen. Like, if I could have told myself at 34 that I would be on a billboard at 39, I wouldn't have believed myself. I was like, girl, that's not going to happen. Like, how is that going to
Oh, what?
And so looking back, even on the last year, I almost let fear hold me into a job that I thought was comfortable. And then God gave me a deal that was 3 or 4 times the amount I was making in a year.
Yeah.
And so it's like, whoa, like I really was about to miss out on all of this, and not even money, all of this opportunity because I felt like this was safe, or I went to school for this. This is what God wants me to do. And God is like, you could do both, but imagine if you focus on this one thing.
Yeah.
And so I never tell people to quit their jobs arbitrarily without a plan. I had a lot of money saved, so I was good. I'm still good. But making that leap, it took more than money, it took faith.
Yeah.
And as much as you talk about faith, faith in action is not easy at all. And so once I took that, it was so, like when you read the prayer, the Lord's Prayer, give us this day our daily bread. He knew that the bread would run out from yesterday.
Yeah.
So daily, you got to trust God every day. So he almost wants it to get short. So tomorrow's like, I don't know. But when you get it, you know it's God. And so I love watching birds migrate and fly around because they don't have a fridge. They don't have a deep freezer. They don't have anywhere to keep all their stuff. And so to watch them wake up every morning like, all right, we're going to get something to eat. And never saying, what if the grass don't have no worms? What if we can't find this? You don't see, I mean, I'm sure birds have their own issues, but you don't see them fretting over supply.
Yeah.
They wake up and go get it. And so if we could have that same resilience and say, I'm going to wake up and go get it every day, we really would be okay. We just got to change that my mindset. And that shift.
Yes. The mindset is something that we have to change, especially if we're more so in the negative field.
Exactly.
We have to push past that fear, like you mentioned earlier, and just determine, okay, am I going to actually take this road that I have always dreamt of? I have it on my vision board every single year. I have it on my bucket list every single year, but I don't actually put the action into the faith that I'm actually praying out each and every day. So it makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
huge
for sure.
difference. Oh man. So there's something that you mentioned that I want to play into now. We talked about the challenges, and in our first episode, we talked about the start and like the growth of your business. We just talked about some of the challenges and pushing past the fear and what that looks like. I want to talk a little bit about the funding piece because a lot of people in a lot of cases, especially starting out a business, they want to go from starting the business to, okay, I want a $100,000 grant for my business. And there's like, okay, you can get that. However, did you put in the work that we just discussed in these two episodes? What does that look like in terms of how people can begin to look for the right opportunities? We've already talked about a lot of great golden nuggets in terms of some of the work that you have to put in between that time. But what are some of the funding and grant opportunities that people could look into?
Well, first, you definitely have to have your business side airtight, your LLC, your trademarks. Now that is something that you can't just do on your own. You really need to delegate, having an attorney look over your paperwork, applying for different things for you, making sure that, ABL Creations is trademarked. My logo is trademarked. Everything that I do and say is trademarked. Because it's a little tricky with artwork, trying to trademark and copyright it. But if my logo is on it, then it's protected. And so you need to have those conversations. And again, Google may seem like a for dummies, but it literally would say, what do I need to do? And you need to type in actually what you need to do.
Yeah.
And then if you can't afford a huge attorney, there's a lot of pro bono people that are doing a lot of stuff for pro bono. It's attorneys, it's marketing. Even on my call today, they sent me a website. Did you look at this? I felt dumb. I was like, I should have Googled that. And so I keep saying Google because I have found so many opportunities late at night just typing in, "Ooh, how do I start earring business?" And you'll get a YouTube, "Hey girls, you want to start an earring business?" I'm like, this is right on Google,
Wow,
And so
yeah.
I think that we can't be too good to do the work. And I think a lot of people are like, girl, I'm just going to seminar. Because even if I've gone to seminars, I've gone to, great speaking opportunities, but it's different when you're doing the work yourself.
Yeah.
Even if somebody handed me a whole book, I'm like, girl, just give me the links. And so staying up every night, reading about things, soaking up knowledge, understanding what it takes to be successful, finding 2 or 3 people that may not be in your field, but they're successful, learning just some of the steps they may or may not have taken. Because people really, like me, I have a 3rd book coming out, but I'm not going to give you a blueprint. I'm determined I'm not doing that because I feel like people need to learn the lesson of how to get the information. And so some people they'll give you for $9.95, they'll teach you how to get a man, how to get a car, how to get a house. But I feel like I've learned so much that the wins mean so much more to me because I did the work.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to funding, first getting your stuff airtight, paying your registration fee, making sure your name is LLC down, protected, you have an attorney, having business insurance.
Yes.
And then going after the grants to seeing, okay, if I apply for this grant, are they going to pull from my assets? Are they going to use my house as collateral? So it's so many different things, but get you a good banker, a good lawyer, and just having somebody that can really advise you in the industry. And then don't be afraid to DM some folks. Like, look, Nicole do hair. I'm going to ask her if she knows so-and-so. Because a lot of times people are amenable to you being humble and saying, hey, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Do you know somebody I can talk to? And your network is more valuable than you think. You may not know somebody, but somebody you know may know somebody that may know somebody. And so by the time we're done in a group text, you're like, girl, my homegirl says she needs somebody to come work in the shop. You willing to do it on the weekends? Cool. And now you're getting a hands-on learning experience.
Yes.
But if you try to I'm not going to tell nobody I'm starting an antique business, they're not going to be in my business. You're like, well, why don't you tell somebody? You're like, girl, my grandma just passed away. You can have everything in the house.
Yes. Yep.
And so when you start talking about your dreams with trusted circles, your circle may have the answer you need for business. And that's what I've learned. Like my banker is one of my friends, my attorney, my hairdresser. I've been with her for 20 years. So my team has been people that I trusted over time. And so they look out for me. So even now she's like, okay, what we doing next week? Let's come with your look.
Yeah.
My graphic designer is like, oh, Mel, you need to do this. My attorney is like, okay, get this done. My banker is like, it's time to switch your car into another name. So it's having these people that are constantly thinking about how you can be successful.
Yes.
That's important.
Yes, yes. So what it sounds like in terms of a business cost save standpoint, you essentially are able to leverage your community, leverage the people around you. Because those are going to be the people that'll help you out along the way in your business.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So we've talked and touched on so many amazing points in your business, the start, the growth, the sustainability. I love the fact that you mentioned the trademark because that's going to help in the long run to sustaining your business.
Yes.
Any other closing moments, discussion points that you want to discuss? Anything else for ABL Creations that our audience should know about?
Lord, don't put limits on what God can do for you. Don't put a time frame on when God can bless you. You could be 14, you could be 40, you could be 80. At any moment, God can change your life. And that's what I learned is that, to be okay with starting over, be okay with walking away from jobs, relationships, but have a plan. And just be open. Think about that blank canvas every day because that's what life is that you can have a chance to start new every day. You might have a little bit of remnants of the day before or things in your life, but God is a God of a million chances, not only second chances.
Yeah.
And that you can regenerate yourself every time you decide. I just put up a quote that said, keep them guessing. People expect me to do colorful things, and I'll show up in black and white. Even today, people thought I was going to have on hot pink. All hot pink, but I said, let me razzle dazzle with a little bit. Yeah, and so just keep people guessing.
Yeah.
And God will honor you as you continue to honor him. And you can manifest your wildest dreams if you yet believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate that. You guys, this was a wealth of knowledge. I'm sure this is the start of the new year, so a lot of
Yes.
people are still in this mode of creativity. How can I do the best version, be the best version of myself
Yes.
along this journey?
Yes.
And I just feel like you just gave essentially the blueprint. I know we talked about the blueprint earlier, but this is like,
Yeah.
here it is. This is what I've learned.
Take it with if you want it.
Yes, take it if you want it, and essentially being able to adapt this to your own company, to your own business, or to your own dreams and vision board in terms
Absolutely.
of creating your own business or helping someone else that you know. If you know someone that's interested in this type of industry and they're currently, in a rut, or they're trying to determine, okay, what are my next steps? Be sure to share this with them. But thank you guys for watching. We truly appreciate everything that you're doing in terms of sharing the episode, being able to allow this to be someone else's blessing.
Yes.
And so we thank you, Melissa, for being a part of today's show. Thank you guys for watching Boss Up. I'm Nicole Jones, and we'll catch you on the next episode.